Hello and welcome to Gaslands TV, and I'm wearing these dirty gloves because we're going to be doing some pretty messy stuff today. What you're going to need is a piece of paper or cardboard because we're going to be doing like blobs of stuff here, and you don't want to dirty your work table or anything else. So I think this is one of my favorite builds, to be honest. We're going to be using mousse isolante, insulating foam. And with this, we're going to be doing some pretty cool explosion markers or wreck markers or whatever you want to call it. I had some holes to plug in my house because it's winter up here in Canada, and the mice have nowhere to hide when it's cold out, so they try to get in the house. So I used this to close some holes, and this one's actually almost out, or it is out, so I'm gonna go out and get another one. So I went out and I got this great stuff, and it's great, guys. It's great stuff. It's great stuff, and it's a gap filler where you can fill gaps but also make terrain, and I'm going to show you how in a bit. And this great stuff is really good because it has like a tip that doesn't get, like clogged up and whatever. So it's a really good tip. It might be a bit more expensive than the other ones, but the straw and the application thing is really good. I don't know what it's called, but it's good. And what you want to do is just make some blotches here of expanding foam. And actually, I used some of this, to be honest, before filming in my garage. And when you buy a new bottle, it's gonna come out much faster and much better. Trust me. This can is like almost finished, or maybe it froze in the car because it's like minus 40 degrees over here. But what you want to do is make like shapes that kind of look like Hot Wheels. Or cars, like a rectangular shape of the size that you need for like the Gaslands template kind of thing. So that one there looks better. So as you're doing these, you'll get better at doing like rectangular shapes, and you could use toothpicks to just shape them up a little bit. And if you have cars that you're not going to be using because you bought it on a whim at the Dollar Tree or something, and you're like, man, why did I buy this car? And just shove that on top of one of your blotches, and then put more expanding foam on that car, because what I want to do here is maybe make the car look like it's exploding in action. So have it like freeze frame, kind of like the Matrix freeze frame, like get exploded, and it's like you're capturing it as it's exploding. When you have cars like this that you have no idea what you're going to do with, I mean, you can be creative and put some guns on that, but if you're not going to be using a Hot Wheel because you got it in a 20 pack or something, just put it down on the paper and shove a bunch of foam on it. And we're going to make another explosion wreck marker here. I'm going to just use this toothpick just to move it around a little bit before it gets too hard to like place it exactly where I want it. And if you have other pieces that you're really not going to be using anymore, parts of cars and stuff, and you were planning on using them for wrecks or whatever, you could use that in this build here. And I'm just going to put a bit over here. Maybe this is where the huge explosion happened, in the back, and maybe in the front too. And to be honest, like these cans, if I am going to use it next year, by the time I use it next year, it's going to be all wasted and everything. So I'm just going to use it to build terrain. And make sure you're using gloves, guys, because you don't want this stuff on your fingers. It gets sticky and gross, and it's not fun. So use gloves when working with this stuff. And you know what? I found this gravedigger body, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Now this stuff is actually drying really fast, so I'm just gonna shove it on top of this now that it's still not very hard. I'm just gonna push it down there, and that looks like it's exploding from underneath, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna maybe shove the thing inside the window here and have some of this stuff come out from the windows. Really make it look like it's mid-explosion here. And maybe have some come up on the roof. It's kind of hard to model this stuff. It doesn't go where you want it to go, but it's okay because it's fire, flame, smoke. It's supposed to be random, right? Not supposed to know where it's going. Let's get some coming out of the front window here. And I'm pretty excited for this video, guys, because I put like 4 different songs, so you won't be hearing the same song on loop. I went out and I picked a few other songs, and you're gonna hear some different tunes here coming soon. I'm gonna put some in the back here. That looks pretty good. And you know, what a weird material this thing is. It's kind of like marshmallow, but it's not. And you think there's air in here, and you like, if I poke it, it's gonna pop, but it doesn't. It's such a weird thing. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And we're just gonna let it dry for a bit. And once it's dry, it's gonna look like this. Actually, this one still rolls, so that's gonna be fun. And rolling wreck, rolling explosion. But now this is why I wanted you to do it on paper, because it's easier to remove from the paper. Kind of, it's sticky, but I mean, you could just remove some paper from the bottom. That looks weird. That looks like a brain, but we're only going to be using the top of this thing, and it's super light, guys. It's like, this is going to be the lightest piece of terrain you're going to be carrying around with you. It weighs like 3 popcorns. That's what this thing weighs. Now, obviously, if you use some cars or some metal bodies, it's going to be a bit heavier. But the lighter the car, the lighter the piece of terrain is going to be. Like, this thing weighs nothing. And it looks like it came out pretty cool. I like the shape of this one. It's going to be mid-explosion. It's going to be really cool once it's painted. But yeah, before painting this, we're going to have to prime it. And I'm going to use yellow primer. Actually, to be more specific, Jaune Soleil Illustré. Oh no, Illustré, not Illustré. My French is not the best, but this is what it looks like. Kind of like some, I don't know, Pikachu tumors or something. But it should look like this once you sprayed it yellow. If you don't have yellow, you could spray it white, not a problem. But if you do spray it yellow, even though there's a bit of white, it's fine. Leave it there. There's white in fire, so you could leave the white there. These are the colors you're going to need. Yellow, red, orange, black. Yellow you don't need anymore because you've sprayed it yellow. So we're going to go from yellow to orange, and then we're going to do red and black. So for the orange, we're going to take a sponge, piece of a sponge, and we're just going to put some orange on the sponge here. Let me know what you guys think of the different music that's going to be playing during this video in the comments, if you like it, if you enjoy it, if you play my videos while you're modeling, if it helps. But what you want to do with the orange sponge is basically like a little bit everywhere, more on the top of the explosion than around. So I'm going to just put some around, and then after I'm going to put more on the top here. So that looks pretty cool. Gonna go over this one as well. This is the easiest build to paint. To be honest, you don't even need brushes. Well, yeah, you do, but I mean, you know, for the fire part, you don't. So we're gonna sponge some red once you've sponged some orange. And with the red, you want to put a little bit on a napkin. You don't want too much on your sponge. And we're gonna go ahead and do like a halo at the top here. Leave the sides just yellow and orange, and just put some red a little bit more on the top, because what you want to do is like a gradient from yellow to orange, and then from orange to red, and like more red at the top. pretty good. Kind of reminds me of a ketchup chip or something. Let's do another halo on top of this one here. Put some red. It's up to you if you want to go all the way around. I like to kind of not touch the sides too much. I want the top of the explosion to be more red and darker than the bottom of it, kind of like a real fire. And just gonna sponge some red on top of these. That looks pretty good, and still too bright, a little bit too cartoony, right? Kind of doesn't look very realistic, so black is missing. But while that's drying, let's take a look at a Hot Wheel. I decided to like open some Hot Wheels during my videos. Instead of just waiting there for stuff to dry, I'm gonna open this Toon. Let's zoom in. Toon 83 Chevy Silverado. It's a hot rod truck, but it's a little bit tuned, and I think it's pretty cute, don't you? Little cute little engine there, little engine that could, and it's small, so it's gonna be hard to hit. You know, just a little bit out of range from some weapons maybe. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun little build. Now that everything's dry, we're gonna go and sponge some black, and this is where everything changes. The black really makes this build pop. The explosion looks really realistic with some black, and I'm gonna just put some on top. Start at the top because that's where you want the most black to be sponged. Look how good that already looks. It's pretty cool. And you also want some black to be on the tips of explosions. Like if there's a little tip of something that's sticking out, make sure that's black. You want the tips to kind of be very burned. So that's not bad. Maybe I put a little bit too much here, covered up all the fire, but that's okay. This is what it looks like towards the end of an explosion. And just put some around. It's not bad. Now, if you want, you could take your red sponge again and go a little bit over the black, just to have a few like spots of red shining through the black of the fire. And you could also do the same thing with some orange. Should have probably waited for the black to dry, but since my camera runs on batteries, I don't want to wait for that and then charge batteries and stuff. But if you see that your sponges aren't getting in the like little crevices and holes, you could just take a brush, add a bit of red inside, like do a little circle of red, maybe even some orange afterwards in there. Like once you're looking at it and you're like, oh, this is too bright, or this spot is too bright, you can take a small brush and just go inside and add some red and some orange. You could even leave the yellow if you liked that look of bright fire inside a black fireball. I mean, you could even do it before the black. So if you see a lot of yellow, just take your brush, put some orange on it, and just put a bit of orange in spots where the sponges can't reach. I'm gonna add some black dabs over here, and with the leftover black, you're gonna want to paint the cars. So whatever parts of the explosion is the car, or like parts of the car, whatever you see, I'm gonna paint them black because it basically represents the car that exploded, but it's probably not gonna be the exact shape or whatever, so it's kind of like a placeholder slash ghost of the car that exploded. So really there's no real color that you should put on this car, because if a blue car explodes and then you replace it with this marker and it's a green car, it doesn't make sense. But I feel like black is kind of like any car that explodes, burns, becomes black, you know what I mean. So just take a black and paint the car or whatever shows of the car black. Tires, everything, just make everything completely black. And I think that's going to be the best way to go for these cars. And if you're a professional painter and you're really good at painting light effects, like making the fire look like it's glowing off the car, then go ahead and do it. I'm not good enough to do that, so I won't. And I think it's really hard to do, especially on a black car. So we're gonna do the same thing here. Sponge some orange, then sponge some red, and the final black sponge. And you already have a pretty cool looking explosion there. Again, if you want, you can use a brush and sponge with a brush the areas that the sponge can't get to. Use a brush and just tap the inside of where there's a lot of yellow, tap that bit of orange, and that looks like a pretty cool burnt mushroom. Now, if you want, you could even use the non-sponge method. So you can take a brush and then all around the edge or the bubble of an explosion, put some orange, like I'm doing here. So wherever there's a bulge of that foam, put like a halo of orange all around the bulge. Make sure that the yellow is sticking closer to the car than the orange is. And then once you have like a halo kind of outlined, you could paint the inside of that halo orange. And basically I'm showing you how to do it without using the sponge if you just want to use a brush. So I'm just going to go around here with the orange, not getting too close to the car, and do this side here. See, the white kind of looks pretty cool. Like, you know, if you look at fire, there is white at the bottom. And once you've done the orange, go ahead and use some red. And again, you want to go where the orange is, but not all the way, covering up all the orange, just a little bit on the bulges, on the tips. And you could dab just around the bulge in the back here. See, it's not bad. It's not as bad with the brush. You can still do it with the brush. The black part though, I still recommend you do with a sponge. It's good because the black, it really gets the edges, the tips. It leaves a nice texture of burnt. If you do it with the brush, you might get too much black in areas that you don't want, and it's not gonna be it's not gonna look very good. So, and if you see that there's too much yellow somewhere, you could like take some orange again, fix it. If you made a mistake with some black, you can fix that. And that's looking like it's coming along pretty cool. I really hope to see you guys do something like this. I'd love to see you actually use expanding foam to create a terrain, a piece of terrain or an explosion. I'm gonna add wheels to this one to make it look like it's just exploding right now, and like tires are flying off. And while it's drying, I'm gonna take a look at this flip car. Apparently this car can flip into something else, like a police car that turns into a, I don't know, tanker or something. There's a bunch of these flip cars, so if this one is cool, I might go get the other ones. I mean, the details are pretty cool on it. There's like a few, you know, lights and grills in the front, and even the lights on top of it, so that's pretty cool. It's written police. The tires are nice. I don't know how to flip this thing though. You open it here on the sides, maybe the back. Oh, it's literally complete flip, and now it's a tankard. That's pretty cool. I don't know, might be my next build. Put some magnetic little pieces of magnets to have magnetic weapons that you can change. Yeah, this is pretty cool actually. I'm gonna see if I can find more of these little flip cars. And you know, those tubes are not that bad on the side there. They kind of look like rocket launchers or something. You could like add like a tip or something in the front, or make it look like a minigun. I don't know, 2 miniguns on the sides. Yeah, but that's gonna be pretty cool. So now for this one here, I'm thinking of making the fire at the bottom, and at the top here smoke. Let's try to make that look like smoke. So again, with the fire, guys, you've learned in this video how to do fire. So let's go ahead and do it again. Sponge the orange on top of the yellow, and then sponge the red on top of the orange. And I'm going to use my brush to get into the little spots that the sponge couldn't get into. Kind of blend it into the smoke a little bit at the top, and sponge some black. That looks pretty cool. Easy, quick and easy. And make sure that the tips are black. And now we're going to do some smoke on top of the car, and for that we're going to use some gray, just some light gray, not dark. If you have light gray, use the lightest gray you have. I'm just going to put a coat of gray all over here. It's kind of hard on yellow, so I might have to do maybe 2 coats on this, because yeah, you can see the yellow through it, and that's not going to be very smoke-like. Gonna have to change that. Add another layer of gray after this one. So maybe while it's drying, I'm gonna open another car. Let's actually, while that's drying, I'm going to use a silver metallic pen to do some of the mags here on the tires that are exploding. I find it's easier to do than with a brush, and a little bit more precise with this pen. And that looks pretty good. And do the other side. You could even use a Sharpie, a black Sharpie on the tires. I'm going to do my second coat of gray here. Make sure that we don't really see the yellow. And what you want to do is take some black, a little bit of black into the gray that you used to make it darker. So we're going to take some of the black, a little bit, not too much, just to make it darker. So now we got a darker gray here. And we're going to sponge some of this darker gray on the light gray. Kind of the same thing you would do with the fire, but you're doing it on smoke. So light gray, just going to tap it here. If you guys have a better method of doing smoke, or it's like smoke, s'mores. I'm thinking of s'mores now with all this fire and marshmallow looking stuff. If you guys have a better way of doing smoke, let us know in the comments. I know a lot of people want to use like cotton balls and stuff, but so it's going to kind of look like this. You can even use black a bit of black on the sponge and add some black at the top, at the end of the big smoke fireball. Let's see what that's going to look like. Just at the top here, some black. That's not bad. That does kind of look like smoke a little bit. And keep in mind, guys, that this is super light. Like I said, like maybe 4 popcorns. It weighs about 4 popcorns. So while that's drying, let's open up another car. Let's open this thing here. The Jackhammer, which is a Hot Wheels Wagons 2 of 5. And I bought this one because it looked like it had some pretty cool details on the roof. So let's take a look. Let me know what you guys think of the music so far. If you like my first music that I just loop for like the whole video, or if you like that I change music, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that. But check out these intricate details in here, in the engine. The front's got this like huge air intake to put some air into the engine. The whole bumper is basically a air intake, and it's really flat, which is cool. I like flat cars. The lights are nice. It's got these things in the back, kind of like a Warden looking thing, and even like these little pipes on the side, little details are cool. I like those. The top has details. I don't know, it just looks like a cool build, a cool Gaslands build. And I had some extra tires here, so I'm gonna just add them in the back of this car. I kind of like the adding the tires after the explosion, like they're kind of mid-explosion. And while that glue is drying, I'm going to show you this other car. I think it's one of my favorites from Muscle Mania. It's number 10 of 10. I love this car, the Mod Speeder. And the name is perfect, right? Because you're modding Hot Wheels. So it's like the perfect car for this. And this whole series where you have this car that's kind of blue and gold so far have been amazing. This is like the flattest car in my collection. I love it that it's flat like that. The engine is like plastic and metal, which is really cool. I'm gonna zoom in here so that you can see my ugly fingers and fingertips, but you could also see the details on this car, which are really cool. The front, I love the front. It's got like the filter and the pipes and everything going on there. It's got a kit. It's got some beautiful exhaust that you could ionize. Am I bleeding? No, it's just red paint. Yeah, the back is really cool. I don't know, it's just such a cool model. I don't even, like, I'm scared of touching it. You know, I'm scared of modeling it. Look at these rivets. It's just so detailed. Even the inside on the dashboard, there's some stuff there happening. I think there's even like a, is that a NOS bottle in front of the passenger seat? I can't wait to open this kit and see what's inside. It's gonna be really cool. And even in the back there's like stuff in here, so make sure to subscribe so that you see the inside of this car once I open it for a build. But yeah, this is the markers that you can get with expanding foam, some sponges and a few colors, and you got some really cool stuff. And while you're playing with your friend, you could like surprise them. Like once you blow up their car or something, you pull out this thing from your backpack and you just shove it on his car, and you're like, yeah, I blew you up and look how cool that looks. And it weighs nothing. It weighs like 5 popcorns or something like that. It's super cool, I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you like this idea. Even the ones that you did do, you could even add an explosion on it, so it's like a double explosion or something going on. But yeah, I hope you like the video, and I hope you subscribe. If you do like the video and you want to support me and my work and stuff, you can go to my Etsy page and order some cool mods for your car. I got like weapons, rams, engines, pipes, tires. They all come in this really cool container that you can use as terrain or to transport your cars. I got some flame effects that are really nice for flamethrowers and stuff like that. And come to our Facebook page, Gaslands TV. If you did do something using expandable foam, come and show us on Facebook. And for my other video, well, my next video, I'm going to be doing comic book looking cars. So stay tuned.